This, I mean, like you can pick really soft, but then, you know, you dig into it and it's still like it's got that dynamic range to it. So.
We're here in NAMM in Anaheim, California, and there's something interesting happening today. So my friend Chris Alvarado, who owns and builds Driftwood Guitars, brought a guitar with him that's pretty special. It was a custom-built acoustic guitar for a client in Hong Kong. And he brought it with him because he's going to ship it from the show to the customer in Hong Kong. And I wanted to show it to you before he ships it. So Chris and I have known each other for almost 20 years. I met him back in 2006 in Florida when I was 16 years old. My family would go on vacation down at the beach there where he lives, and he's a musician. And I met him when he was out playing a gig, and that's coincidentally right when he started building guitars. So I got to see and play his first Driftwood guitar. And for the last 20 years, he's built an amazing business as a luthier and custom guitar builder, building these insanely beautiful acoustic guitars. But I actually haven't played one of his guitars in almost 20 years since I originally met him. So I'm actually really excited to see and hear what this thing sounds like. Because from what I've heard about Driftwood, they're not just aesthetically beautiful, but they sound amazing as well.
Yo.
Oh, hello.
What's up?
What do you think about this? It's pretty empty in here. I mean, and nobody ever walks through here.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Yeah.
Despite the background music.
This is right. Luckily, it's a little quieter over here.
Wow.
I like to get non-electric, non-acoustic players to play my acoustic guitars.
Yeah. Should I leave my badge on to play the guitar?
I would prefer not. Yeah, definitely. If we could put some 60 grit sandpaper on it first.
Okay, cool. All right, let me see it.
This is a guitar that I built for a customer. That's all I do is build guitars for customers, so they're all custom pieces. This one is actually heading to Hong Kong. The top on it is a 3,000-year-old piece of ancient Sitka. Back and sides are super, really amazing master grade zirconi.
Wow.
You can see, and so we got this Macassar ebony binding that's on it. Some sapwood captured inside of there. Arm bevel, red bevel. The elephant in the room is the Eric Clapton inlay that's going on here.
So yeah, explain that. What is that all about?
So all my pieces, because they're built for customers, I typically challenge them to, hey, if you'd like to do something special on the guitar that represents you, your family, your life story, let's include that on the guitar. This kind of became kind of my thing with guitar building. And this theme that I've done where it's like famous musician smoking a cigarette with lyrics coming out of it is, I've done this I think like 4 or 5 times now. And so he really wanted to get in on that before I run out of artists to do. And then on the back we did this Monstera leaf, which represents his children. Yeah, and this is just my latest piece, and I only do about 12 a year.
And all right, so tell me about the top. What's up with the top?
Okay, so this top wood is a piece of Sitka Spruce. Obviously, Sitka Spruce is something you see on probably the majority of acoustic guitars. It's usually like this wheat, you know, light-colored blonde wood. Well, this is that same exact wood, but this particular piece came from Craig, Alaska, and it was found by a guy who harvests lumber for guitar builders, and found it buried in the side of a mountain, kind of just sticking out with some mud. There's some photos of it. Cracked it open, and lo and behold, it's this gray color, and sent it off to be carbon dated and kind of scientifically analyzed. Found out that it's like 2,850 years old, and that the gray is actually finely ground up mineral deposits. So the theory is that it was actually in this valley. The tree fell kind of along the edge of a glacier and then was buried in the mud and slowly kind of twisted and turned, and those mineral deposits kind of got into the wood. Only one small log worth of this wood was available. It's no longer available. I've got one more guitar to build with it that I'm currently working on. But
so that's this actual like natural color, like there's no stain or anything.
Is a completely clear piece of wood.
Wow.
Including all these like really cool streaks that you kind of get inside of it.
That's so cool.
And the really nice thing about it is it's actually incredible sounding too, which is not always the case.
Yeah.
Just because it's pretty.
Okay, so then like tell me about your inlay stuff. Like how did you get into doing it's super intricate inlay? Because Because when I met you in like 05, 06, I don't think you were doing that yet.
No. Inlays started organically for me because I built custom pieces. You know, you get to know people, and I think my very first customer was a buddy of mine named Duke Bardwell. He's actually Elvis Presley's bass player. He lives where I live. And he wanted me to do a little butterfly down here and a little tiny little ladybug kind of up here. And I was like, I've always wanted to try an inlay. Let's make an inlay. How hard can it be? It was actually pretty hard. And I made a monarch butterfly and the ladybug. And then, of course, the next client wanted an inlay, and then the next one wanted an inlay, and slowly they got bigger and bigger. But the big breakthrough for me was a customer that wanted me to do a lion inlay on his fretboard, basically in the same spot that Eric's at on here. And I kind of tried it like 3 or 4 times before I was like, dude, this isn't going to happen. And I kind of got a bug and had an idea for how inlays should be constructed, realizing they're basically paint by numbers. So I started to kind of treat it like a paint by number and pushed through it and made this line, and after that it's kind of just took off. And then I actually built a guitar for the Grammys for Fleetwood Mac, and that was the first time I'd ever done a human face on a guitar, and I did all of the members of Fleetwood Mac down the fretboard, and it's slowly evolved into this.
Dude, it's just insane. Like, the detail on that is amazing. Now, you documented most of this on your channel, right?
Yeah, a lot of people confuse this with the video series on our channel called the 3,000-Year-Old Guitar Build. It is this piece of wood, but it's a different guitar. But there's a lot more detail on this guitar on our channel as well, and obviously photos on the website and everything. But it's kind of weird for me because this guitar's had strings on it for like 3 days. I'm getting to enjoy it for a little bit, and then it's heading off to Hong Kong, and I'll never see it again probably. So that's the world of guitar building. Yeah. You know, you make these pieces for other people. So I'm trying to enjoy it while I can.
Yeah. Well, let's play it. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So much bass. Yeah.
The thing that keeps striking me with the one is that it has bass, but it also has the clear mids and highs, which is, to me, as a bluesier, the hardest thing in the world to do, because it's a pie chart. You take away from one thing, you know, you add to another, but so it's always a balance. It's always a balance. And then also trying to balance not having the guitar cave in on itself. About building a more delicate guitar is that it does allow you to have a little bit like more of that electric guitar vibrato that you can't typically get on an acoustic, because it's just a little bit more sensitive to all your inputs. It's like a sports car that you feel the road, and when you turn the wheel a little bit, it gives you what you want back. So the guitar is not a barrier, instead of it's just you and the music.
Clear shoes, baby. So lively. Yeah. I feel like
you get such good, like, especially with what you were doing there, like dynamics.
Yeah, and I mean, I was gonna say, like, you know, a problem that I have a lot with acoustics, being like primarily a finger picking player, is like a lot of times that it kind of goes back to what you're saying about the sensitivity of it. Like a lot of acoustics, it's kind of like you're like punching sand a little bit. Like you dig in and it doesn't like
it doesn't give you what you're trying to give it.
Yeah, but with this, I mean, like you can pick really soft, but then you know, you dig into it and it's still like it's got that dynamic range to it. So.
When you're building the guitar to get that dynamic range out of it?
The main thing is that as a hand builder, I know who my customer is going to be, and I can take that guitar so much closer to the limits of the string load. String load's super important, and then also being able to voice the entire guitar specifically for what the customer's looking for. Yeah. I use feel a lot. Most builders it's always tap tone, tap tone, tap tone, but for me, I feel how stiff the top is, and I'm looking for a certain amount of stiffness.
So you're like flexing the...
Absolutely. Yeah, like typically the perimeter, making that loose is going to give you more bass. You have a thing called, that's monopole, you have cross dipole, which is
kind of like a speaker, right?
Yep. Yeah. You also have side-to-side vibrations, and you have this sort of vibration. Some of them add present, some of them add mids. So you're constantly trimming the sails inside of there so that you can kind of maximize everything. But with always is you have 160 pounds, anywhere between 120 and 160 pounds of tension with strings pulling on it. So you have to take that into factor as well. So the longevity and the life of the guitar, you know, it's a balancing act. So the manufacturers are building up with strength and durability in mind first, and by doing that, that's how you get that factory guitar sound that kind of seems monolithic in many ways. You know, that's why you have to hunt and you have to try out 20 versions of a model before you go, oh yeah, this one's good.
Yeah.
And the reason that one sounds good typically is because the brace wood happens to be a little bit softer because they're shaving all the braces exactly the same.
Right.
Versus a hand builder who can actually put the voice into the guitar.
I want to play slide on it, but I won't because
I would love to hear you play slide on it.
I'm just scared to like hit the fretboard or something with it. I'll be real.
It can't hurt the fretboard. I'm not worried about the fretboard.
Trying to be like extra gentle with it. Normally I'd be like clacking all over the place with it. It has a nice like delicate sound to it with the slide. Like a lot of
never hear slide on my guitar, so this is like this is really cool.
Yeah, it changes the character of it so much. Like I feel like a lot of like your typical factory acoustic sounds kind of like tinny with slide, but like this, it's like
you still get the wood.
Yeah, exactly. Like you hear more of the fundamental with it, but it has this like really nice kind of delicate, pretty sound to it.
Wow. Oh my God, dude, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. Like sitting here in the room with it, like you're hearing, there's like two elements to the sound. You're getting that transient coming off of the guitar, even with his fingers.
Yeah.
It's like a really responsive, low-end transient thing, but then it's so sweet, especially with the slide where you're getting that sustain and the articulation of the slide moving across the strings.
Sweet is the word that like I keep using. I've heard you use. I had somebody else earlier try this guitar and said the same thing, and I don't know why that's the thing that comes to mind, but it's like warm caramel.
Yeah, but I mean also like powerful too. I mean, because I was standing on the other side of the room and like when you were playing it, it was like projecting at me like really strongly. Like where I feel like a lot of other acoustics, like I don't know, they just don't have that like punch to them. You know what I mean? This feels way more present, like it's right there, but it still is like really sweet and you know.
And the thing that's interesting, and this is what we're always trying to get across on our channel, is that there's no gimmicks on this guitar. This is a standard Martin style X braced guitar. There's no like, it's ladder braced on the back, but this is just what proper voicing and attention to every little aspect of detail that you can get by hand building versus trying to like knock out, you know,
Right.
like, even just one guitar a day, which is what a small factory does, can't do that, you know.
Good stuff.
I'm gonna try it again.
Yep.
Damn. Well, whoever's getting this guitar is one lucky.
That's how I feel.
God.